We're going to start with a little meditative exercise. So later I'll talk to you in a more conventional way. But for now, to begin with, I'd like to ask you to find a comfortable position in your chair, a position that feels relaxed but alert. Take a moment just to check your body for tension. I think a lot of us know the places where you're likely to hold tension in your neck, in your shoulders, in your back, your facial muscles, your scalp. If you find any tension, just let go of it, which is not doing something, it's stopping doing something. And close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that, or if you prefer, drop your eyes to a neutral place in front of you. And now begin to focus your attention on your breath as a way of staying with the present moment. You don't need to change the way that you're breathing. Just let your attention rest on your breathing. And as you continue to focus on your breathing, expand your awareness to whatever sounds you hear in the room. And these might include your own breathing, the breathing of people around you, other sounds. And just let your attention rest on your breathing and on the sounds in the room. If any thoughts come to your mind, just notice them and let go of them. And now, without trying to control the pace of your breathing, begin to engage your voice as you exhale. Let your voice find a pitch that you can hum softly, adding it to the sounds in the room. Continue to hum with each exhalation. There are no wrong notes. Just hum a note that feels comfortable. Listen to the sound of your voice and the other voices around you. As you continue to breathe naturally, add some intensity to the sound you make as you exhale. Open your mouth and sing on a vowel sound such as ah or oo. There are no wrong notes. And now let your volume increase so that you're singing warmly. Still just sing one note with every exhale and rest your voice as you inhale at a relaxed, natural pace. As you sing your tone, listen to the sound of the whole group. And now, with each exhalation, begin to let the volume of your voice decrease. When it feels natural, hum instead of singing. And when you're ready, return to breathing without engaging your voice, and listen to the sound of the group as the intensity fades. And when you're ready, open your eyes or raise your gaze back to the room. Thanks, that was beautiful. We've just done a version of the first of Paulina Oliveros' sonic meditations entitled Teach Yourself to Fly. We did an adaptation recast as a guided meditation. In Oliveros' original version, a group would begin by studying the brief verbal instructions and then perform the piece without a leader, sustaining it as long as they want and letting it end when the group feels spontaneously that it's over. By guiding you, I hope that I've given you a sense of the piece within our time constraints tonight. Oliveros' sonic meditations, deep listening pieces, and related work consist of brief verbal instructions for each piece. The results are musical and also constitute a wide range of ingenious contemplative practices. In Teach Yourself to Fly, we begin by observing the breath, as is common in mindfulness meditation. Taking environmental sound as an object of attention is also a common meditative practice, but Oliveros' piece becomes distinctive as she invites participants to add vocal sound. We hear and feel our own vocalization, and we hear the people around us. As Oliveros puts it, allow your vocal cords to vibrate in any way that seems natural. The anxiety of getting it right, so common in musical performance, is gone. Our 5-minute version gives only a glimpse of what this piece can be. Oliveros' instructions ask us to continue as long as possible, naturally, and until all others are quiet. Performing such music can have strong effects. It is beautiful to be aware of one's own body through breathing and the vibration of singing, and to feel through hearing the presence of the people around you. Music therapist Diane Austin makes extensive use of such vocal production, which she calls toning, in individual psychotherapy sessions. Toning gives a sense of self-presence, a comfortable sense of one's own embodiment. For someone who rarely sings, toning may give a surprising experience of hearing one's own voice. Austin also notes that toning sometimes gives people access to their own emotions, including emotions one might not have acknowledged. Teach Yourself to Fly brings this range of experiences into a sensuous experience of community. In today's brief presentation, I shall consider the topics of music, contemplation, and wellness by sharing several examples with you. Teach Yourself to Fly is my first example. I'll mention several others more briefly. The Bonney method of guided imagery in music is a well-established form of music therapy. GIM, as Helen Bonney developed it, is a practice of individual therapy undertaken by a client and therapist. In GIM vocabulary, the traveler and the guide. The traveler lies down, eyes closed, and enters a relaxed state. Listening to a carefully designed program of musical selections, typically classical music, the traveler spontaneously creates images and experiences in response to the music. Today, these programs are typically around 40 minutes long, though Bonney's original programs were somewhat longer. The guide intermittently questions the traveler about the experience, keeping the traveler engaged with the music and present moment experience, but not directing the traveler's flow of impressions. GIM experiences vary in their qualities. They may be predominantly kinesthetic or emotional. In many cases, they are strongly visual and may involve dreamlike narratives with the traveler and other figures as characters. Sometimes emotionally intense memories come up. The goal of GIM is to give the client vivid experiences of her own thoughts and feelings. Within the environment of musical organization, the comforting presence of an empathetic witness, and the predictable format of the GIM session, material often comes up that is difficult to access in other settings. The hope is that clients will be changed by having these experiences, especially in a series of meetings, as well as benefiting from pondering the memories of the sessions. GIM makes use of a capacity that also exists, of course, outside music therapy, our ability to make associations to musical sound. GIM interests me partly as a powerful approach to therapy, using aesthetically beautiful material to create meaningful experiences and personal insight. But also, I think our everyday, non-medicalized experiences of classical music often work in similar ways. I agree with music theorist Edward T. Cohn that classical music listeners typically give content to the events of classical compositions by drawing upon associations with personal experience. As Cohn notes, such associations may not be fully conscious to listeners. The Bonney method encourages travelers to rest their attention on these personal responses. Further examples of relationships among music, contemplation, and wellness can include music improvisation and the self-presence and presence to others that comes from letting unforeseen musical ideas enter one's own performance, and the uses of improvisation in music therapy. I'm interested also in the experimental music tradition of John Cage, who emphasized the possibility of listening to sounds with open, non-judgmental interest, and used chance procedures to compose music that could be heard as a series of accidental sounds, rather than as an expression of his choices. Recently, I've been exploring Fluxus, a group of artists influenced by Cage, whose innovative practices include event scores, that is, brief verbal instructions for a performance. Many of the most attractive Fluxus events take commonplace settings or everyday events and single them out for attention. Alison Knowles' score, Proposition, consists of 3 words: make a salad. To perform Knowles' street piece, one should make something in the street and give it away. Fluxus artists resist the separation of art from everyday life, aiming, like Cage, to exemplify a patient, curious experience of the life that is already present all around us. I understand this as a contemplative practice strongly oriented to well-being. In fall 2014, I taught an undergraduate seminar called Music and Consciousness. 16 students and I explored the materials I just described, along with other resources on musical meaning. The class met for 75 minutes twice a week. These relatively long sessions allowed for experiential work in every meeting, along with discussion. From the beginning of the course, I encouraged students to trust their own experiences, accessed partly through in-class journaling, partly through open, non-judgmental discussion. All the material we worked with had potential for transformative experiences, and all of it worked in various ways to erode conventional boundaries among art, academic study, and everyday life. We all learned a lot together. I think it would have been a valuable course at any time, but the fall semester of 2014 was uniquely traumatic at UVA. It began with the disappearance of student Hannah Graham, her murder, as we eventually learned. It ended with the dismaying article about campus rape and UVA in Rolling Stone. Throughout this time, my students and I gathered twice a week, exploring our capacity to be present to ourselves and each other, our ability to move freely among music, conceptual reflection, and direct experience. We were thinking together about music, contemplation, and wellness, and we were experiencing their interaction in our own lives. Thanks.